All right, welcome back into Radio Row. Writer's Block live here from the side of Super Bowl 53 on Sunday on CBS. We got a hell of a show planned for you. The Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins going to join me on the program, and some very special awards for some very special NFL figures. It starts right now. All right, this is Writer's Block, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. And on Saturday, on CBS, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, the actual NFL honors will take place. So we thought on the show, on the program, we'd give you the Writer's Block NFL honors. A little bit different focus on some of those folks who have distinguished themselves over the course of the year. You voted at SportsWriter, my Twitter handle, SportsReiter, and the winners will now be unveiled. We start with one of the more prestigious, we hope, as the years unfold with this award categories, the Diva of the Year. A lot of competitors for this one. Two teammates might explain why the Steelers weren't around very long, didn't make it to the postseason. Antonio Brown was on the list, Le'Veon Bell was on the list, Jalen Ramsey had the honor of being a nominee, and of course Hugh Jackson, whose name you'll see later. Congratulations, with 43% of the vote, to Le'Veon Bell. You didn't play a single snap in the NFL this year, and yet you are the Writer's Block NFL Honors Diva of the Year. And don't just take it from us. I don't know if this guy voted, but he might have. Mike Tomlin, when asked about Le'Veon's effect, certainly underscored and threw his support to this nomination.
Any other questions? Y'all have a good evening.
All right, it's only funny if you're not a Steelers fan or you're over it. Here's my personal favorite, Bum of the Year. We throw this moniker out a lot on the radio show that I host at CBS Sports Radio. Some really qualified NFL Bum of the Year nominees. Hugh Jackson yet again. Blake Bortles on the list. I like Blake. John Gruden, probably, I put the vote up. I didn't get to vote. Probably would have gotten my vote. Kirk Cousins, congratulations, with a whopping 51% of the vote. Hugh Jackson, you are the Bum of the Year. Your leadership, your record in Cleveland. We found out in a report last week what you said to your owner and GM when you were fired, that you told them to get out of your office with colorful language. This could become, I wish the vote was a little higher, but next year it could be the Hugh Jackson Bum of the Year award. In fact, again, he's walking around here somewhere. Baker Mayfield, not shy in his perspective this season to let us know that we may have gotten this one right.
Left Cleveland, goes down to Cincinnati. I don't know. It's just somebody that was in our locker room asking for us to play for him and then goes to a different team. We play twice a year. Everybody can have their spin on it, but that's how I feel.
Hey, he ain't wrong. Baker is not wrong. A lot of reasons you could win this award. The Underachiever of the Year award is really interesting. There's 4 nominees. I think it's the toughest category to really peg this season. The Steelers didn't make the postseason. The Jaguars had a terrible year, won, 5 games. The Vikings gave that huge contract to Kirk Cousins, did not make the playoffs. And the Packers and Mike McCarthy were not able to get to the postseason as well. Mike McCarthy gone. In fact, earlier today, visited with Stephon Diggs, told him about this award, asked him if it would be wrong if the Vikings won. He said, no, they deserved it. They did not achieve. And yet, congratulations, Stephon. It's not your Vikings who take home the plaque today. It's the Jaguars. That's the team I would have voted for. It was a close race. You can see there. The Jags with 35% of the vote. They were one good half of football away last year from being in the Super Bowl. This year, they weren't even close to the postseason. Really disappointing. I think you, the voters, got this right on the Writer's Block NFL honors. And I got to tell you, the next one it probably speaks for itself, but we'll go through the nominees. Personality of the Year. Who is the NFL personality who dominated the conversation, who you liked the most, who just popped again and again? Baker Mayfield's on the list. Juju Smith-Schuster's on the list. Ryan Fitzpatrick's on the list. Don't sleep on Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic earlier in the year, the big beard, and a combo, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. You know who won. He won with a big chunk of the vote. It's Baker Mayfield. We had Baker on the program just before the draft here on Writer's Block, and he was a dynamic personality then, walking around Radio Row earlier, and this is a guy who just commands attention, commands center stage. He's got some swagger, he's got some ego, but in a likable way, and in a way that we buy. And so, not that you need it, but just to enjoy the magic that is Baker's personality of the year, here's a reminder of what this guy's all about.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
All right, heartbreak in the year. Bears fan, this one, I know which one I'd vote for. The nominees are pretty interesting here. All right, you got the Saints, pass interference call. Talked to Cam Jordan earlier. I had to ask him about it. You could see the pain in his eye, the defensive end for the Saints. You got Cody Parkey's missed field goal. For my Bears, talked to Urlacher earlier. He was already over it. I'm not yet. Chiefs fans, I know you're still real mad at D Ford. That was brutal, and the Alshon Jeffrey drop through his hands. What felt like more Foles magic just became a loss we did not expect. These are all great nominees, and again, close call, but Saints, right? Saints should be here. Most of us know that they should be there. Commissioner Roger Goodell had to address it yesterday. Heartbreak of the year. You Saints fans are angry. You want to sue. You're up in arms. You got voodoo dolls. I don't know about all that, but your heartache is well placed. I don't know if it's a congratulations, but you got there. All right, a few fun ones. Uplifting. Celebration of the year. The nominees are the Vikings for Limbo, the Seahawks for Choreography, the Titans for Remember the Titans, and my Bears for the Temptations tribute. All great, but we'll always remember the Titans celebration because they are now celebration of the year. Congratulations to Tennessee. You got to give them something this season. All right, last one. This is a good one too. Game of the year. Game of the year, regular season. Week 6, a lot of Chiefs on here. Chiefs at Patriots. Chiefs play well. Patriots won that game. Week 11, Chiefs at Rams. Chiefs in LA. Supposed to be in Mexico City. End up in Los Angeles. High scoring affair. I think 6 touchdowns from Mahomes with a bunch of turnovers. Rams got the win. Week, 15, Chargers at Chiefs. San Diego. Huge win at Arrowhead. And week 16, Steelers at Saints. That's one I would have voted for too. The winner is, congratulations, Chiefs at Rams. I know the NFL wanted that game in Mexico City as a showcase internationally for the sport, but it was a hell of a contest at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, California. Congratulations to all of our winners. Hugh Jackson, wherever you are, we'll send you maybe a Writer's Block Bum of the Year t-shirt, and you can wear it around Radio Row next year when we give the award out to someone else. Congratulations, Hugh. We're proud of you. This is Writer's Block, brought to you by, presented by the U.S. Marine Corps. I'm really excited about our next guest here on the show. And if you can see, there's an energy, there's Hall of Famers, there's some big personalities. Brian Dawkins. We're going to do it over here on the big set because Brian, he's the Hall of Famer, is a big deal. Brian Dawkins is going to join me in just a second. Talk about Super Bowl loss to Tom Brady, what it takes to be a champion, his foundation, all that coming up in just a moment here on your home for streaming sports. All right, welcome back into Writer's Block, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. As you can see, I'm lucky enough to be joined by the Hall of Famer, Brian Dawkins. It's a pleasure to have you here, and your foundation we're going to talk about. It's an incredible organization. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you for having me. I know this is pretty hectic for you. It's pretty hectic for me, but it's a good kind of hectic, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and the vibe's kind of. Do you like coming to this? Do you like doing the?
Well, this is actually my first time coming to the media row and all those things.
Really?
Like, I've never come out and done the things that I'm doing because I've never had a chance to talk about some of the stuff that I'm talking about.
All right, I want to hit the game, but the foundation is your opportunity to take all that success you've had and make a difference beyond football. Tell us about it and how folks can get involved.
Yeah, so it's a Brian Dawkins Increase Foundation is what it's called, Impact Foundation. And so this ball that you're going to be able to bid on is actually the ball that I scored a touchdown against the Texans when I was blessed to have an interception, sack, TD reception, and fumble recovery, but I actually also forced a fumble, so you're going to get all the true stats of that performance. And this is yours to be bid on, game used, and also this is a helmet that I actually use, and you can see some of the scars still on the helmet.
Other people took the brunt of that pain.
Yeah, so this is a helmet and a ball, and 100% of these proceeds, once again, will be going towards the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation, and the premise of that is to bless people mentally, spiritually, and physically with resources, with hope, especially single parents, single moms, and then their children, to be able to help them up out of the situations that they're pushing themselves out of. So there's a lot of other things involved in that, some education when it comes to some of the youth in the communities that I grew up in, of teaching them what it's going to take for them to see outside of their community first, make the right decisions to get there, but also to give them, again, that hope of resources that they may be lacking.
I mean, you're making a difference, and last year Hall of Fame speech, very personal, and now you're able to continue that and get personal in the lives of folks who need to make a difference, and that's how you can help as well. All right, so 2004 season, 2005 Super Bowl, you play this guy named Tom Brady. We are many years later. The dude is still here. What's your reaction to Brady not walking around as a former player, an actual competitor in Super Bowl 53?
Well, I mean, for him to do what he's doing at the level that he's still doing it, I mean, there's a lot of things that goes into that. And obviously, how he treats his body, the things that he eats, the way that he hydrates himself, like all of those things, the sleep he gets, you know, the rest he gets, his training, all those things allow you to stay at a peak longer, but not just stay, but sometimes even increase, even though you have, you know, age against you, coming against you, or whatever the case may be. And for him to continue to do that at that level also tells you about the organization that he's in. That means that the organization has the ability to, year in, year out, be consistent in their message. Like, he knows ahead of time what they're probably going to go to. He's a coach on the football field. And then he's a guy that, you know, goes out and plays as hard as he can, gives it for his teammates. He's a great leader. So there's a lot of things to respect about the way that Tom is handling himself and what he's doing. I'm just not to say that I like him as a competitor.
I get it.
Because I don't like him. But at the same time, and I really do respect what he's doing.
Yeah, and part of what he's accomplished, and it's deja vu over again and again, whether it was the Chiefs last week or the Falcons a couple years ago. You guys back in 2005, end of games, you can feel, even just watching the game, you can feel that your stomach tighten, and he just goes out there and he gets it done. How do the Rams go about trying to create a scenario where Tom Brady can't get the football, where the game isn't so close that Brady goes out and does what he seems to always do?
Man, you know what? Like, I'll give you one of the things that I would say about Josh McDaniels' time in Denver is I see the meticulous nature of those times of games. And I'm not saying they got it from Josh. I don't know who got it from where, but all I know is that there's a specific way that they go about doing things during that time, even in practice, the competition and the different challenges that they put upon one another, that when they get to those times in the games, they've done it so many times that your heart rate doesn't even rise. Like, I've done it. We've been there.
Muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. It's also mental memory as well. Like, I don't need to go to another level. I don't need to do anything more than my job, as they say. A lot of people say that, but not a lot of people practice it and actually go through it. So what happens with the Patriots, I believe, is they stay the same while everybody else changes. They try to do more, or they try to press more, or they get tired or fatigued, and then they make mistakes. And usually the Patriots do not. And so that's been consistent from, I believe, the time that they've won their Super Bowls.
And it's cliche, but in that moment, they're just playing football.
Yes. And that's what the game is. It's about playing football. But when you start thinking outside of everything else, letting everything else come into your thought process, you actually give invitation for mistakes to happen. Because you're thinking about everybody else's job instead of your job. You do your job to the best of your ability. Oh, yeah, then I'm going to help my teammate if something then happens. Then that's a different mindset. Again, position by position, if you listen to how Belichick teaches, that's what they teach those guys. You do your job. That's their mantra.
All right, so you're a Hall of Famer. You know a thing or two about playing defense. If you're Josh McDaniels, you have some insight on. If you're Tom Brady, what are you trying to do when you look out there and you see Aaron Donald, you see Ndamukong Suh, you see Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib? How do you attack those guys?
Well, the team that has beaten the Patriots, not last year, because Tom actually had a very good game last year, but the Giants that have beaten him, they did a couple of things to him consistently. They got after him and made him move around the pocket, and they got to him and hit him. They didn't allow him to step up in the pocket, run past him, allow him to step up in the pocket to complete passes. The other thing that they did is they tackled well in the open field. Like, you have to do those two things. You can't give them yards after contact. You can't give them yards after catch. If they catch the ball, it's contested catch, no yards after contact, and make them go the long haul down the field, and then hopefully your pass rush will get to them and force them to do something that they don't want to do. But other than that, man, like, it's going to be a four-quarter game. That's the other thing you have to understand. And you can't change in the last 5 minutes of the game. You have to constantly be who you are. If you're aggressive offensively in the first 3 quarters, you got to continue to be that in the fourth quarter. If you're a defense that gets after the quarterback and tackles well, you can't allow fatigue to get in the way of you doing exactly what you're supposed to do. The way you did it in the first half, you got to do it in the second half against this team in order to beat them.
And I want to give guys beyond Tom Brady some credit. Bill Belichick, pretty remarkable at what he does, and we've seen comebacks, we've seen adjustments in game. How confident are you that Sean McVay, we've called him a genius, we put some labels on him, very well respected, he's a young dude. How confident are you that Sean McVay can match or come close to matching Bill Belichick in-game, move for move.
And that's what you'll see. You'll see what type of motivator that he is. You're hearing some of the things that are coming out of there. You hear him in his press conference as he's a very, very smart, cerebral guy who does a great job of tapping into the mentality of guys to get them to play, to bring the best out of them. But in those tough situations, how do you present? What type of energy are you, presenting to them? I can say one thing, but if my body language and other things are showing panic, guess what it's going to produce to the team, panic. And you don't see that from Belichick. You don't see that from Tom. Even when Tom throws one of his fits, like he still usually comes back under control to be able to, all right, meticulously guide the team down the field when needed.
Teams take over the personality in these moments, you think, of their coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy Reid, and I'm an Andy Reid fan. I lived in Kansas City a long time. Is he the guy that's to blame for the Chiefs not being able to win that game, or is it just the consequence of who they were playing against?
Well, I mean, you can say it's the consequences of who they're playing. I mean, but, at some point, in those moments is when I talk about making mistakes, right? Time management, being able to understand the different times of how to either eat up clock, make the other team use timeouts, but it's not just Andy. You say, well, it's all on Andy. No, if I'm somebody who's lined off sides and it's across the board. Everybody has to do what they've been doing the whole game. Call an aggressive game plan, do your job, and not, have penalties and mistakes. And then you give yourself a chance to be able to beat this team in the fourth quarter. If you don't, then you're going to be on the losing end of things, and you're going to be the other 31 teams. And that's absolutely where you don't want to be if you're in the Super Bowl this year.
Hall of Famers' schedule is busy, especially First Radio Row. A lot of folks want to talk to you, so we got to let you run. Just very quick, who do you think wins the football game?
Well, from everything that I just said, I believe it's going to be a high-scoring game, like your heart, because maybe want the Rams to win, but at the end of the day, I just look at what the Patriots present. A healthy Patriots team. Gronk is healthy. Edelman is healthy. The running back, they have a dynamic duo. One of them, I think set the record for catches in an NFL game. So, they have so many pieces to be able to go to. And it's a one game. It's not like it's a series that you have to play. So all that being said, I look for the Patriots to pull it out.
Brian Dawkins, pleasure visiting with you. The Foundation's an incredible opportunity to make a difference. Thank you for being here. We're going to keep it rolling live from Radio Row. Writer's Block brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. We'll go inside the numbers on those two coaches, the older one and the younger one, when we come back here in just a minute.
All right, welcome back into Writer's Block, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps here at Radio Row, Atlanta, Georgia, side of Super Bowl 53 on CBS. As you can see, we're going inside the numbers on the Super Bowl matchup between that Rams offense and the Patriots defense. We got some great stuff for you, starting the numbers 2 and 16. The Rams offensive DVOA, which is defense adjusted value over average, yeah, fancy, I told you, rank is second, which is up against the Patriots defensive DVOA rank of 16th. How about 112 but 13? This one's interesting. Jared Goff's passer rating on play action this year is 112.13. His passer rating with no play action was 95 during the regular season. Little insight on what the Patriots may be doing with 56.8. Next up on Inside the Numbers. Patriots play man coverage on 56.8% of their defensive snaps. They increased their usage in the AFC title game, playing man against the Kansas City Chiefs on 72% of their snaps against Kansas City. How about 49.1? The Patriots allowed 49.1 receiving yards per game to running backs. Todd Gurley, who of course they'll face, has averaged 47.1 receiving yards per game under Sean McVay. This next one is fascinating too, 117.1. Jared Goff, the Rams QB, compiled a passer rating of just 59.8 when under pressure this season, but he's been one of the league's best quarterbacks when kept clean, compiling a passer rating in those situations of 117.1. We talk about how the Rams got to get to Brady. The reverse is certainly true as well for the Patriots getting to Goff. Next up, 44.9. The Patriots defense led the league in third down pressure rate at 44.9%. And finally, the number one, Brandon Cooks was first in the NFL in receiving yards on deep pass attempts. His counterpart, Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore, led the league in yards allowed per coverage snap. We've got all the data for you on this show and on CBS Sports HQ all week long, the rest of the week as we build up to the big game. Every bit of our focus, for the most part, on Super Bowl 53. But a little breaking news a couple hours ago, a report from a friend of mine, friend of every basketball fan, Adrian Wojnarowski, Wojbomb. The New York Knicks are finalizing and working to send Kristaps Porzingis to the Dallas Mavericks, which tells you a couple things. Presuming the Knicks know what they're doing, which is a leap of faith sometimes, the Knicks aren't sure about Porzingis' long-term health, and you know that Dallas and Mark Cuban are willing to be bold. If Porzingis can be the guy that he was when he's healthy and can stay healthy, and you pair him up with Luka Doncic, that is a dynamic team. That is as good of a young duo as you're going to find in the NBA in the years ahead. It is a huge, huge trade, and maybe just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg over the next week as we get done with Super Bowl and get into the NBA draft trade deadline. And of course, we'll have you covered here on CBS Sports HQ, your home for streaming sports. I'm Bill Reiter. This is Reiter's Block, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. We're going to have Mitchell Trubisky on the show. Can't wait. Talking about his Bears team, that success, that heartbreak, where they go from here. Turning things back over to the guys here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Sports Line in 30 minutes. Thank you for hanging out. I'm Bill Reiter. This is Reiter's Block. We'll see you tomorrow in Atlanta, Georgia, right here.